guys, good morning or good afternoon or good evening. This is our last event logistics class. So remember, put your headphones or earphones on and let's go. Well guys, as I mentioned before, this is the last class of event logistics. And well, this is the last topic. The last topic is the post-convention report. What is a post-convention report? The name says that it is post-convention, but it's not just focused on conventions. This is a report that needs to be done after every event. This is to summarize and to point out every single detail that was okay or was not so okay. So this is very important because this is a tool that is going to help us to know what is necessary to change and what is necessary to be improved in the future. In future events, in the future year, in the future edition, or whatever, according to the kind of event that it is. Okay, so let's going to see what this post-convention report is. Well, as you could see in the definition, this document is very, very important because this information is going to help us to improve, yes, I mentioned before, and not just in the planning process, but in the development and event, in the post-event process, right? So let's going to see why this report is important, or well. In fact, we are going to see a list about why this event is useful, right? Let's see. Well, the first point says that it is to review the success of the event. Again, key PIs and event objectives. But what is this? What is the KPI? It means key performance indicator. What is an indicator? Remember, we have talked about indicators before. Indicators is about numbers, how we're going to measure the success of an event. Everything needs to be measured to know if it is successful or not, or if we achieve the goals or not. And these are the indicators. Maybe the number of attendees that we have in the event against what we planned to have before, right? Or maybe the amount of money that we expected to gather with this event against the real money that we got from this event. These are indicators. Or maybe with the information that we have, that we can get with the interviews that we're going to apply to the staff and to the attendees after the event, right? We can compare that information with the expected impressions that maybe we thought that we could have as a result of this event, right? So these indicators are a way to measure some result, a way to measure something, not just in an event, but in everything. This is an indicator. In fact, is how we're going to translate the information in numbers to be compared with the expectations and the real thing, right? Well, the second point, it says to determine key recommendations for future events, right? Well, with this information that we're going to get from the staff, from the attendees, and from our own experience, right, and the experience of all the people that was involved in this project or in the event, right, we're going to point out in some facts, right, that maybe something didn't work as we expected, or something was a little bit different than we expected, right? Sometimes it's better, but sometimes it's not. Well, with this information, we're going to make like a list right? The recommendations for future events. We're going to recommend what we have done well, right? And what we need to change in the future. Yes, to be better or to have a better result in the event. Okay, to avoid making costly mistakes by reviewing what worked and what didn't. Remember that we had a budget at the beginning of the event. In this budget, we consider all the resources, all the necessary resources to develop an event. But sometimes we consider more things that are necessary, that are really necessary for the event, right? And well, this document is also, well, the information that we're going to find in this document is also important because it is going to make us or to help us to avoid to spend more money than the one that we really need, right? And to develop KPIs and objectives for the following year's event. Yes, exactly. Remember that we set some goals. Yes, and we try to reach those goals. If we reach them, this is perfect, right? But the next year we need to overpass these goals, right? If we didn't reach the goals, well, we are going to set new goals for the new year, for the new event, for the next event, and we need to try. We are going to try to accomplish or to overpass the new goals. This is to develop KPIs, new key performance indicators, right? Trying to overpass and to be better every year or in every event, okay? And to provide key metrics to measure against the following year is the same, right? It is according to the indicators, metrics, numbers, how we're going to measure the event result in numbers, right? Remember that we have quantitative and qualitative information, qualitative and quantitative facts, right? But no matter if it is quantitative or quantitative, it's about the numbers. But qualitative, we can transform the qualitative aspect on numbers too. By maybe with an interview, we can get information that it's about an attitude or something like that we need to change, that is not exactly directly related to numbers, right? But by counting the results of these polls, of these interviews, we can translate the results in numbers and to make graphics. And these graphics are going to help us to understand better with numbers, obviously, because it needs to be measured, right? And this is an easier way to be compared with future results or with previous results if this is not the first event that we develop, right? Well, then to inform business cases and sponsorship proposals for future events, the same, right? We know well, for this event, for the current event, the one that we are measuring, that we are getting the information from, we look for some sponsors. Now, we need to look for new sponsors, or we're going to decide if we are going to look for new sponsors, or if we are going to continue working with the same sponsors. This according to the results, according to how we work with the current sponsors. Maybe we got like awesome results and it is not necessary to look for new ones. But if the results were not as we expected, we need to look for new ones. Or maybe if we want to make the event bigger, right, we are going to keep the ones that we have, but we are going to look for others, right, trying to get a better or a bigger benefit, okay? And this way we will it will be able for us to make a bigger and better event with more characteristics, with more resources, with more attendees, with more services to offer, and big etc. right? Well, now we're going to check what are the points that this post-event report needs to have. Let's see. Well, the point number one is the post-event report executive summary. Remember that the report itself is a summary, right? Here we're going to summarize everything that happened during the event. It says an executive summary is exactly that. Yes, as I mentioned, a summary. Keep it under a page. It should be the last thing you write, and it must include summary of post-event report. This is like a short description about what everything that happened during the event, since the beginning, maybe some hours before, until it finishes. It is necessary to highlight the key achievements, to mention and to point out all the achievements that you achieved with this event, right? And at least key recommendations. Well, this is the point number two. The point number two is the introduction. The introduction is the same short review, right? Short writing, but here you need to. It is based in the basic questions, right? Who, what, when, where, and why to your event. Here you are going to mention all the details about the event, about the venue, about the time, about the attendees, right? Who were the organizers? What is it made for? What is it made for? And a brief story of the event, if it is relevant. And it says that it is necessary to include a list of all the staff of the event, not just the internal staff. I mean, not just the people that is directly related to the event, but also the people that is the support, maybe some external people that is related to the event, not directly, but they are supporting you in any way, right? And finally, the objectives, the original objectives that you have for this event, and the KPIs, it means the key performance indicators, is what you wanted to achieve before the event happened, right? Well, this is the point number two, and let's go with point number three. Well, the point number three is the budget. What is the budget? Is a list of all the resources that are necessary for the event with the cost, right? Because you need to control the money that you have, right? You need to know how much money you will need for your event, right? And to control all the expenses related to that, okay? Well, in this section, you are going to include the original budget, and you are going to mention if there were some variances between the original and the real budget, or the real money that you spent in your event at the end, right? And it says attach the final budget to the report as an appendix. In the appendix part, I mean in the end of the document, you are going to attach, you are going to include the final budget, I mean with the final amount of money that you really spent in your event, okay? Remember that this includes, you need to include the budget, right? And also if you got some money from sponsors, right? Well, let's see the point number three. The point number three is the attendee survey. This survey is very, very important. It is going to be like a key for your work, right? Because here you will have the impressions. You will know what were the impressions of the people. Because maybe you can have a perception, and you can perceive that maybe your event was very, very successful, but you don't know what the people is thinking, right? You need to know what the people think about your event, right? If they consider that the event was good, that maybe it was not so good. Maybe for you it was successful, but for them it can seem something different, right? So you need to design well your questions, trying to get the correct information. This is not something that you need to include just because it's part of the structure. No, you need to choose very carefully, right, your questions, because you need to know what's the information that is necessary for you to know. Well, because thanks to that, you will know what really is working according to the people's mind. I mean, to the attendees' mind, right? And you need to work on that, because at the end, the event is for the people, is dedicated to the attendees. So they are going to tell you what is good and what is not, what they want and what they don't, right? And this way you will organize more successful events in the future. So it's very important to include the attendee survey. Remember, some organizers, they apply different surveys for the attendees and different surveys for the staff, because they are in all the operative part, all the operation, and they know exactly what happened in every single area, in every single task or activity in your event. So they are going to know, they are going to tell you what is better to change in the future to improve your event, right? Maybe they will tell you what worked and what didn't, yes, because it's impossible for you as organizer to be involved in every single task, in every single activity that is done in your event, right? Remember, you have different kind of processes and procedures involved in it, and maybe for you to supervise everything is going to be very, very different. No matter you have like control tools, maybe a checklist for everything or whatever. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to be aware of everything. So this is important, because they are going to tell you, I mean the staff, not just the attendees, are going to tell you the details that sometimes they are very tiny, but it doesn't mean that they are not important, because the consequence of having a very little mistake can be very, very big, and at the end is going to be reflected in the results of the event, in the perception that you will have, or in the perception of the staff or the attendees, which is the most important, because they are the public who you are dedicating your work, dedicating your event, right? For them, the event is made for, right? So the attendee survey is important, right? And let's go with the point number 4. Well, the point number 4 is program and speakers. Here you are going to include the program that you have for your event. Remember that you have two kinds of program, the general program and the technical program. The one that you're going to include here is the general program, because the technical program is just for the staff, so it's not necessary to be known by other people, right? So it's just for operation. So the one that you're going to include is the general program, right? And speakers. What are speakers? The speakers are the presenters, the people that are going to present a product, that are going to introduce the event, that are going to be maybe the host of the event, right? And all the people that are going to be like the public face, that are going to interact with the people, with the public, right? With the attendees. They are your speakers. If this is a conference, you need to include like a brief story, a short description of every single speakers, to allow the people to know the background and why they are there, why they are important to be in your event, right? No matter if they are not speakers. For example, in the event that you are planning, this is a cocktail, you are going to here to include like a short description of every single guest that you will have, Then they are going to show the people how to prepare the cocktails, and that they are going to talk about the different drinks that you are planning to offer. If the speakers are yourself, right, include a little background about your knowledge or why you are doing that work, right, why you are doing that, and why or where you got that information, if you have a preparation or if you have studied something about mixology or something like that, right? But it isn't necessary to include this short story, this short presentation about the speakers, because the people need to know who they are and a little bit about their background, right? Well, let's see the point number 5. Media and promotion. Here you are going to include and you are going to talk about all the media, the marketing and promotion strategies that you followed, right? That you used to promote your event. It says provide a summary of marketing activities highlighting successes and failures, areas to address. Include promotional activities and outcomes. Use analytics to support outcomes. Attendee demographics, where they from, their age, job, titles, right? This information that you're going to get from your survey, right? From your questionnaires that you're going to apply. It is important to know your audience and how to target them. Consider displaying and these in an infographic. Social media engagement, look at growth during the event campaign and engagement at the event. Media, summarize event media coverage, highlight positive outcomes. Basically, what you're going to make here, you're going to include, you're going to list all the marketing that you, marketing strategies and promotion strategies that you use. You are going to highlight what worked for you, what was good for you, and what maybe was not as successful as expected, right? And it says attendee demographics. What is this attendee demographics? Remember that we have marketing research, right? And you need to know your market. You need to know your attendees. No matter if this is the first time that you are planning an event, right? You need to know the profile of the people that is attending to your event. This is going to help you because in the future you are going to focus all your efforts and all your promotion and your media and marketing strategies to them. You're going to focus it to that people, that specific target, right? That's why it is important. And well, you're going to talk a little bit about how your marketing strategies, how they evolved, because maybe in the beginning you could have some strategy planned, but you during the development you need to change something, right? Or maybe you decided that to include more promotion or more marketing strategies. So this is what you're going to talk about in this section, right? Let's see the next section. This section is sponsorships. Remember that you contacted some companies or some other people to support you, right? Not necessarily with money, but with other resources. Maybe with promotion, maybe with uniforms if they were necessary, or with other different resources, right? In this part, you're going to mention all the sponsors and you are going to thank all of them, right? And it's very important to include information about the sponsors because remember that in this agreement that you got with your sponsors, it needs to be a benefit for both parts, a benefit for you and a benefit for your sponsor. So it is very, very important to include the image and if they have a logo, if they have a slogan or something like that, because they are resources that they have developed to be present in the mind of people, right, or the mind of the public. So this is something that you need to include because this is part of the benefit that you're offering to them, the promotion. And this report is also as a promotion for your event because this is not just for you. this is something that, well, in some cases, some companies or some event organizers, they they show these these reports to the people. I mean, they share this to the people because some of them they print like a magazine with all the highlights of the event, right? And including all this information, right? And for some people, it's very important to know this, right? And for them, for some of them, it's key to make a decision of attend or not in the future, right? Or to participate with you in the future, or to be your sponsor, or not in the future, right? To be involved in your event in any possible way in the future or not, right? So just here you are going to make a list of your sponsors, right? And if you consider that it is necessary to include a short description or a brief text about the experience that you got with this sponsor, remember always you need to highlight the positive aspects, right? Because it's part of the benefit that they are going to get from you. Well, it is just if it is necessary. If not, just make a list of your sponsors with the image, logo, slogan, and that's it, right? Well, let's see the following point. Next point is staffing. What's staffing? Is all the people that were directly involved in your event, that worked with you, right? So you need to. It says review self-resourcing for your event and provide recommendations for future events. This will help you to prepare budgets for the following year's event. Yes, because it's going to, with this information, you will know if the staff was enough or not. Maybe you had more stuff than necessary, right? So it's going to help you to reduce the staff or to increase the staff, right? According to to your needs in the future, right? So this is very, very important to have a better event planning, okay? And also for the staff, it's important to be mentioned and to be considered, right? For the staff, it's very important to know that their work is taken in account, okay? So that's why this part is important. You can't skip this part, right? And finally, let's see the final point, the point number 8. The point number 8 is future recommendations. Remember, these recommendations are not just you're not going to obtain these recommendations or these conclusions just from your experience, right? But you're going to get these from the information that you gathered. And it says to conclude your post-event report, summarize key recommendations highlighted throughout the report, right? Include recommendations from staff, right? Because they know the operation. Sponsors, right? Because they could appreciate the event, but like from outside, right? As part of the event, but from outside, as a public, but involved and related to you. They are like in the middle, right? So they are not just attendees and they are not staff. They are in the middle, and they can have a different perspective of what happened in your event, right? Speakers, because they were involved, they were like guests, they were involved in the process of the event, and they were who really interacted with the people. They know the reactions of the people, and they handle with it, okay? So they know what the people really wanted and how they reacted to the different things that happened, to the different facts, to the different acts or shows or whatever that you included in your event, right? And obviously the attendees, because they are who this event is made for, right? Who this event is dedicated before, and well, it's very important to know their appreciation of the event. All right. Well, in general, these are all the points that you need to include in your post-event report or post-convention report, as you want to call it, right? And this is a very, very important document, and for you and for the people, right? And well, don't forget to make a report of your event. It means that, sorry, remember that your event, in this case, because of the situation, is not going to be possible to be developed, right? I mean, in the reality, to be taken to the reality, right? But you have expectations. So in your event, you are not going to include like final impressions. What you are going to include is just the resources, just the budget, just the expected attendees, just the speakers, and well, everything, but without the recommendation, right? The final recommendations, and without the description of what happened. You will include a description of what it is expected, right? So you're going to imagine, yes, but it is important for you to include this final report in your integrative project event, right? Well, if you have any question, remember, guys, to write a comment right here, or to let me know your doubt or your question in the WhatsApp group, right? But remember always to ask, right? Because I have been checking your homework, and you are not asking, and because of that you have made many mistakes, right? Or maybe you were working in a different context. So always ask if you have any doubt, any question, to be clear, right? And this way you are going to learn, yes, and it means that I am doing my job in a good way. So, well, thank you, guys. See you later. Thank you for being in this subject, right? This was the final topic, and see you in the future. See you later, guys. Have a nice week. Peace.